Good morning, everyone. I'm Megan Cullip, along here with Scott Michlin.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Here we are.
Always joy.
It's another Solutions from the Street.
That's right.
So
New solution, same street,
Yes.
I guess.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
the way to describe it.
That's it. The same old graphic.
Same old
Look at it.
graphic. You're still upset, I imagine, that you're second on the graphic.
Yeah.
but
I don't know why your name is first. I still don't know.
Maybe I'm
I
paying
keep sending it back.
marketing under the table.
I keep sending it back to fix it, and it doesn't get fixed. Every week there's a new graphic, and it's the same old one.
Yes.
But that's okay.
Yep.
It's all right. Anyway, welcome everybody. We're glad that you were with us. It is our Solutions from the Street program here on KSJE every other Friday.
Yes.
8 o'clock, and this is when we talk about a problem in the community and then find a guest who has come up with an innovative solution to that problem.
Right. So solutions-focused journalism was the idea behind it. We were tired of hearing nothing but problems-focused journalism, and this is a universal problem that almost every speech you hear, you'll hear 80% defining the problem and maybe 20% providing a solution. So we wanted to really highlight that there are, just because we can't often see the good does not mean the good is not there working in the background.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
So here we are.
So here we are.
Thus, a show was born.
So a show was born.
Here we are. So there you go. So this week's problem is, you're a woman.
I am a woman,
Yeah.
just to reaffirm.
Thank you. And for elderly women or older women or senior women who maybe are finding themselves alone after their husbands have passed away or what have you, finding a place to live, a safe place to live in our communities these days. And so that is, I think, an important problem.
Yeah, it is. So this is something that I always, when we're talking to men about these issues, I always ask, do you ever feel unsafe walking to your car in like a parking garage? Or do you ever feel unsafe walking from this convenience store to your house a block away? Do you ever hold your keys, between your fingers ready to just in case something happens? And most men are like, no, I never have to even think about it. And it's just a reality that women have to think about. So I can imagine, and I'm a young woman, so I'm a little more physically capable of, God forbid, having to fight off.
Yeah.
But an older woman is not as capable.
But do you think about those things?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
You do.
I mean, I'm not overly hyper alert, but I definitely welcome my keys like that. I definitely am always checking my surroundings. You can't wear headphones playing music when you're walking in an area that's maybe a little unsafe because you need to be able to hear. I mean, these are things that, as a woman, I think about all the time.
But you have learned, I guess, to do that.
They teach us to do that
because of
violence
happens.
against women. Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So that's the situation. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And we have a solution.
We do.
And it's very exciting. Tweeti Blancett is our guest this week. Welcome. It's great to have you here on KSJE to talk about your innovative, I would say, solution to this particular problem. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You are very welcome. And so just a little background, too. Tweeti was the owner, and still is the owner, of the Step Back Inn in Aztec, which for how many years was open as a hotel?
27.
27 years
Yes.
in Aztec. And so, but you, and I think because of other external issues, decided to change your business plan from a hotel to this senior apartments for single women. And that's what brings you here.
That's right.
Very exciting. So let's talk a little bit about that. And so I guess some of it was COVID caused, would you say, to get you to rethink your plans?
Yes, it was really interesting, Scott. In January of 2020, we started getting anywhere from 5 to 10 cancellations from Europe a day. Because they come and they stay at the hotel and they go to the ruins, either in Aztec, Solomon, or Chaco.
Right.
And maybe Mesa Verde. So when we talked to these people, they said, we're not traveling. COVID's terrible. They're shutting us down right and left. So long before it really hit us here in the States,
You were seeing it.
I was seeing it.
And
I was
feeling it in
seeing
your pocketbook.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So the decision was made to renovate the hotel into these apartments then, right?
Yes, it was a little more lengthy process unfortunately, because you have to come to the realization that what you're doing doesn't work. But what are you going to do? I mean, my hotel was always very successful. I had a very good reputation. It was a go-to place because it's almost a museum was inside of the hotel, and it's an experience. So I had to rethink about what I was going to do. And I really liked the building. I liked the decor. I liked the history that we had. I liked all the things that made up the hotel, but it wasn't even paying the utilities and the insurance, let alone the taxes.
Right.
So what we did was we tried to figure out what else to do. And I'm 76, so I thought about women my age and what our issues are, and especially what our housing issues are when we're single. We're downsizing. We don't want big...
places to take care of.
That's
Right.
right.
Okay.
Lawns.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't want to do maintenance, but we want our stuff. We want something to feel like home. So that's what I tried to create, is a place where you can bring your stuff, you can have a home, but you can get with a bunch of your girlfriends and travel to Europe and be gone for a month, and your stuff and everything's going to be okay.
Right.
So hopefully it'll be a community of like-minded women that care about each other and care about the community and are willing to work together to make it a bigger home, a bigger idea.
Right.
And that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, and that's a very valuable vision. I mean, speaking of Europe, I've heard of these places occurring in Europe. So, but whether it be, retired women or folks with memory loss, and it's just a different vision than you just have a space. It's you have a home, a community. So was there a model that you were working off of, or was this all Tweeti's head?
Well, there was a lot in my mind because I already had the basis, and I liked the basis. I liked what I'd done, and other people liked it too. So I was happy with that. But my mother used to say, when she was by herself, and she didn't want to live with her children, she said, I'm going to live in the Eastern Star Home, which was a group of older women with like interests and like minds. And so I kind of took that idea and elaborated on what my mom was really wanting at that time.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's good.
Very good. And so, I mean, you could have made this just a senior apartment building for men and women, but you made a conscious decision to limit the clientele to women.
Well, women are more vulnerable
As we've talked
than
about.
senior men.
For sure.
Also, the hotel has inside corridors, not outside corridors. And I thought the women would be more comfortable dashing across the hall or dashing up the stairs to see somebody else if there weren't men popping in and out.
Right.
And so I did make that.
Sure.
I did discriminate.
Well, no.
I've been married 56 years. I'm not anti-men.
Yeah,
I understand.
Just for this deal.
But you wanted your residents to feel comfortable, I think, is also
And safe.
part of this, right?
Very
And safe.
safe.
Right.
And
Very
that was
safe.
part of that decision,
Yes.
I would think.
Yes.
And so the building now, tell us about it. There are 17
There's 17
apartments.
And basically what I did is I combined two rooms that were back to back, and I took the bathroom out of one and turned it into a kitchen. It was basically a simple concept. Plumbing was in place, the electricity, everything was in place. It's never easy to tear something out and put it back and make it look right.
Right.
Yeah.
But
We've watched enough HGTV to know what you're talking
Scott's
about.
watched enough
You know,
HGTV.
and it doesn't happen in 28 minutes either. I know that too.
But it was a fairly easy concept. I didn't have any problems with any of my inspectors with what I was doing because I wasn't destroying bearing walls. I wasn't,
Sure.
changing a whole lot of things. So it was a fairly easy thing. It took a lot longer to do this remodel than it did for me to build it from the ground up.
Yeah.
But that kind of went back to the fact that we had COVID restrictions still. We had shortages in lumber. We had shortages in drywall. We had employees that showed up when it suited them. And
Right.
we had real issues with the labor force.
Gotcha.
And
But you got it done.
we did.
You got it done. And
We
so
did.
we're showing pictures on the screen now of some of the different, this is from your website,
Yes.
of the different things that you're offering with the apartments, bathrooms, but then there are some common spaces too, which I think, again, by design, with all these women living together, the idea would be that they can gather in the parlor or the dining room and share a meal together, or go back to their room and have their meal in their own apartment. They'll have that option.
That's exactly right. And we have a big kitchen. So if their family comes in to visit them for a period of time, we have a kitchen that they can cook in. And they can have a big meal. We have all the glassware, the dishes, the silverware, where they can still eat in the parlor because there's ample tables and chairs and that sort of thing for a big gathering. There's a gathering, there's a place for the ladies if they want to have card games, or if they want to have a prayer meeting, or if they want to have a quilting or craft event.
Right.
There's a place for them together. And that's kind of important. And then the outside is landscape. So if you're into flowers and you're into that sort of thing, there's a place for them to putter with the landscaping. And it's beautiful right now because, it's been cool and the roses are gorgeous and everything else is too. That won't last forever, but it's a nice place to be.
Sure. So what's been the reaction, I guess, so far, Tweeti Blancett, about, have you gotten some interest in some applications and, I guess, or rentals?
I've got a tremendous amount of interest, but you have to understand this is a different concept. It's not
new.
like when you go off to college and you rent your apartment and you're going to be gone in 2 years. This is a change in lifestyle. You're downsizing. You're committing to do something probably long term. And so you have to think about it. The women that have come and looked, very few comments that were something that they would change. Most of them like the overall concept, the idea, the complete sense of community that we're doing. So I think it'll be successful, but I think it's something that people need to think about. This is not assisted living. I try to make that real clear. Thank
Right.
God, because it's not near as expensive as assisted living.
Right.
And a lot of people really don't need assisted living. They just don't need to live by themselves.
Right.
And they want to be independent, and that's what you'll find with this. We're not going to come in and take your temperature or your blood pressure or
Sure.
anything like that, but we'll be there if you need something.
Which is a very that's the hospitality industry. Like, going back to what you're saying, that's like what hotels say. Well, did you remember a razor? Okay, well, we have some. I mean, that's like this kind of like what you're used to. And I think it's important to note, just with this overall vision that you're talking about, there has been study after study after study after study that suggests that loneliness is more deleterious to somebody's health than smoking, than a poor diet, than a lack of extra. I mean, everything that we think about, don't do that. And we have loneliness over here that is really killing more people than all of the bad habits combined. So it's so I just wanted to highlight that for our listeners, that this is a very, very important concept that we need more of, actually. It would be great if there's more of this going on. So do you find the ladies that do move in are really grabbing hold of that vision? Is it taking them a sort of a time of transition to be like, okay, I can play cards with other residents, okay, I can do all of this, or?
I'm still waiting on my final occupancy permits, so I don't have anybody living on site. But I think the women that I've talked to, I don't think they're going to have any trouble mixing with other women. I think they'll find their level. Some of them still have real strong church affiliations. Some of them have fraternal affiliations. Some of them are real big into the Senior Citizen Center, which we have in Aztec, you may know. It's a very strong
a good one.
and a very, very much an asset in our community. And the Senior Citizen Center is willing to bring over meals 5 days a week, so the women can either eat in their own room, they can eat in somebody else's room, you know, have
Dining
lunch
room.
together,
Yeah.
or in the parlor. So it isn't like they have to cook. We're not cooking. It's not assisted living. Again,
Right.
I need to
Sure.
write that, because a lot of people think that
Right.
that's what it is.
But
It's
they'll have
not.
their own kitchens. They'll have their own places if they want to still cook. They can cook,
Exactly.
or call DoorDash or whatever it is and get it delivered.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can order in.
It's very, very good. And so the other thing that I thought was interesting too about this, Tweeti Blancett, is that are utilities included? I thought that I read that
Yes.
they were, and that's
Yes.
another. It's kind of an all-inclusive cost, if you will, when you're talking about rent and utilities, and so that maybe makes it easier for folks to understand too.
Well, some people think the rent may be a bit high, but at $1,500 a month, and it is a 6-month lease. It's not an in and an out thing. You have your utilities, which is the electricity, the garbage, the water, the gas, the basics.
Right.
Then in addition to that, you have telephone and you have Wi-Fi in your room.
Yeah.
So when you add all that together, it's one check a month and you're through. You don't have any insurance payments. You don't have any taxes.
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
no maintenance, no upkeep, except, of course, your own facility. There's a laundry, so if you want to do your own laundry, you can. I have a girl that works for me that will come in and clean if the ladies want cleaning service, so that can do. If you'll notice on the website, there's beds. Since it was a hotel, guys, I have to tell you, I have not eliminated all the beds out of all the rooms. All the rooms still have beds.
Right.
If they come with their own bed, that we'll move them then.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
there's beds, and it's ready to move
It's
into.
furnished.
Yes. It's basically parts of it.
Right.
The living room, there aren't as many couches and that sort of thing, but everything has at least 2 chairs in it in the
Right.
living room.
Right.
So,
Very, very cool and very interesting. And again, another important, I think, solution to this problem. And Megan, what you brought up, I think, about loneliness is a really
Yeah.
good point
It's a public health crisis.
when we talk about seniors and and these changes in seniors' lives. I mean, when if they're my mom, I think, went through it too. Her friends were passing away or getting ill and not being as active, and she still was. And so, where was a place for her to go? And that was something that our family dealt with, for a while. So it's an important thing to keep in mind. So,
Yeah.
that's great. And so, Tweeti, what's next? Obviously, you're going to be watching for that occupancy document, and then being able to move people in and get this going. But
and that should be the end of the week.
Okay.
But I think we should be okay at the end of the week.
Gotcha.
I'd like to contact the ministerial alliances and let them know what we have available, because I think that generally people with these kind of concerns start out with their pastor or their priest or their deacon, whoever they feel comfortable talking to. And I'm not sure that my ministerial alliance in Aztec is really aware of even what we're doing, as well as Farmington and Bloomfield. And I would hope that this could stay pretty local, Durango too, for women, because we have so much commonality among us in the area. I mean, everybody knows somebody else.
Right.
And that makes them feel comfortable, I hope. That's the intent anyway.
Sure. And I know we say that we don't want to rely necessarily on government for all the solutions that we're talking about, but would there be, or have you been talking to any folks that maybe could provide some assistance for some of these women who maybe don't quite meet the guidelines to be able to afford to move in, or they feel that they can't, or things like that? Could a government program help them?
Well, there are government programs, Scott, and I have nothing against government programs, but they sometimes lack vision, in my opinion. And if you take their money...
You have their restrictions.
There's some strings.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's some strings.
Which would mean that I couldn't limit it to women over 60.
That's what I was thinking.
I couldn't eliminate men. And there's been a lot of men call because they they didn't connect with this over 60. And I said, well, that's a wonderful thing. You know, I haven't had any men that have called that said, oh, you're discriminating against
Right.
me. I haven't had that.
Right. That's good.
So that's a bit of a problem because my vision is to form a community of women, of
Right.
like-minded, in a very
Right.
secure situation.
Right.
We have key lock doors, which are extremely safe, card key lock doors, video cameras. There's one way in and one way out of the step back in, ample parking. There's just lots of things that would make them comfortable
Right.
and secure, I think.
Sure.
Right.
And furthermore, our police station in Aztec's a block and a half away, and they can do a close call.
Right. Right.
Very true.
Yeah.
So,
And the other thing I would say, and just to be clear, we're talking about these are open for women over 60, so that's not old, I don't think,
well, thank you.
as I get closer to that
Yeah.
number. But
Hey, yeah.
But I think there's still a lot of active women in their 60s
Yes.
and in their 70s, case in
Sure.
point. So,
Yes.
so there you go.
The latest lady I talked to, she was 82, and she could probably outrun you and I both.
Probably.
So,
Sometimes they
I
can.
mean, age is not much of a discriminatory factor anymore.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Well, Tweeti Blancett, if folks would like more information about the new Step Back In apartments that we're talking about this morning, how can they get in touch with you? What's the best way to do that?
Stepbackin.com.
Okay?
Easy.
That's your website?
And they can schedule a time to do a walkthrough and ask
Sure.
questions and all of that. And okay.
Exactly.
Think about it and then come back. Cool.
Very, very good. Well, much good luck
Yeah.
with this project
you.
and this solution. We're excited to see it in our community, and I think there is a need for it. I imagine that maybe somebody else may open one of these up in another community.
You could be a trailblazer.
I think
That's a
so.
good thing.
It's very, very possible. But Tweeti Blancett, it's great to have you on the program, and thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
Good. Thank you very much. Megan, thank you for coming in. Good to visit with you.
That's what
I
I
know
do.
I'd pay you to
I was-
do
yeah,
that. So
I'm not going to miss that check.
there you go.
Yeah.
But another great solution,
That's
right?
right.
That's what we're doing.
And as always, if you, the listeners, have somebody that you know or some small organization in mind that you know is tackling a problem with a great solution, please reach out to us, KSJE at sanjuancollege.edu, and we will absolutely follow up with them. So it's good to spread all of these opportunities out that, a lot of us don't know about.
That's
So
right.
That's our goal.
And, we're not just talking about the problems, we are talking about the solutions
That's our key.
from the street. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Till next time.
There you go.
Different solution, same street.
There you go, everybody. Have a great week. Bye-bye.